was able to carry.
Yeah, so definitely something that La Quinta has to be careful with because I think they were just surprised by Widow One Trick's Genji, and they weren't adapting to it fast enough. I think they were saying, well, we can hold this down, we can handle his Genji, but honestly, I think Troy High School played their cards right. They realized, okay, Widow One Trick's doing work on this Genji. We need to play around this. We are going to wait for him to get the Nano Blade, and then we're going to go for the engages, and that's what they did, and that allows them to get that nice push in and secure the second round.
With La Quinta High School only running the Ana, their only choice of defensive ult would be Sound Barrier. And Troy High School actually had Graviton Surge and Nano Blade and Shatter. So they don't really have an optimal opportunity to use Sound Barrier. They just have to use it to stay in the fight much longer.
Yeah, so definitely something that Troy High School is feeling pretty good about themselves as we go into the next map. It's up to the loser's choice for this next map, so La Quinta gets to choose which of the hybrid maps they're going to go for Game 2. So definitely something that we have to look out for, and we see that they pick King's Row.
Yes. King's Row is one of the most diverse maps, as you could run virtually any composition, from Goats to Dive to Deathball to like Bastion comps. Anyone could pull anything out. And King's Row is one of those maps that most teams either get full held or they push all the way. Second point, it depends on the momentum of the attacking team. If they sweep them the first fight, they're able to use ultimates to build off that momentum.
Yeah.
But if it's close fight like an overtime push, defending team has a chance to even hold them on the second point.
Yeah, and definitely something that maybe La Quinta might be going for, especially if they're selecting this map. They might feel a lot more comfortable on this map, maybe have some strategy historically behind this map as well. So they definitely have some background information on this matchup on this map. So we have to look out for this because it is best of 5. You know, Troy High School is feeling good about themselves. They won the first map. They're definitely looking to win maybe this map. And if they win this map, they're practically secure for this best of 5. So if they're playing their cards right, this could be 3-game series unless La Quinta is able to show up.
Yes.
And I think they potentially can show up because they were doing really well in that last defense fight. It just came down to Troy High School had a lot more ultimates when it came to endgame.
La Quinta did play their cards right, but Troy played it better.
Yeah.
On King's Row, both teams may opt to run the Genji or even the Pharah. A lot of DPS compositions can be run. We've only seen the Genji as their primary DPS source, and Widow One Trick may even pull out the Doomfist again to test the waters once more.
Yeah.
They were able to pull it back after he did pull it out, so I think they're just trying to see the potential of Doomfist in this meta right now. Most teams are actually not doing the triple tank, triple support, which is actually a very strong composition in today's meta.
Yeah, we don't see that too often as much. I think from what it seems like, Troy High School seems to be playing around Widow One Trick. I'm not sure if, he might be the leader in that team, but it seems like they know that they can rely on his skills, and that's something that they kind of just have to play around at this point. I think Widow One Trick has enough supportive players on his team to back that up. We see Kappa Pride and Kappa 123 doing a lot of work supporting him as well. And if they're able to just play around and handle and manage their ultimates economically, they're in a good spot.
Yes. I think no particular player on Troy carried, but the underlying observation that I've had is that XUCO's positioning was abused by Troy a lot. They poured a Discord on him, Genji's in the backline farming Blade onto him, and then XUCO, despite the bubble, despite the nade, he's just gone. And then the front line just cripples it right after that.
Yeah, because we see XQC on that Reinhardt. He's really just the sole frontliner on the side of La Quinta. And yeah, you were right. There's a lot of spots where he was just kind of out-positioning himself. And we see Troy High School able to adapt and punish that as harshly as they can. And that really caused them to win those early fights and get a lot of distance on that payload, which ended up them securing it at the end.
You're right. I think that if La Quinta High School still want to opt to run the Ana has to use her cooldowns much more wisely. That anti-nade on Dorado 3rd against Troy when they popped the Transcendence was beautiful.
Yeah, it was nicely done, honestly.
They were up in ult advantage, and Genji was able to pull out his Blade without any problems.
Yeah, that's kind of the things that need to be done when you're pulling the Ana. Is you have to know what you're playing around. If you see this in the Ana, okay, we got to save the bio grenade for the the Transcendence, and if they're not playing around that, they're not managing when they think their ultimates are back up, then that could be the downfall for La Quinta.
You're right.
Because that's what it seemed like. They just weren't managing the times or speculating, oh, this ultimate's probably up, we should play around it. It seemed like they're kind of just playing quick play.
You're right. And it's noticeable that Troy has much more coordination as they move as one unit.
Yeah.
La Quinta High School, they kind of had squads in a way. We don't know if that's intentional or not, but they kind of split off more often than Troy. Troy tend to push up together and fall back together as one.
Yeah, if anything, like Troy High School did stick together. If anything, they might have sent Widow one trick, maybe to try to look for a flank on that Genji, because he can safely do that without being punished too harshly. But yeah, it's definitely something that we have to see if they're able to adapt to that in this series, because this isn't no best of ones, best of three. This is best of five. So definitely changes need to be made in between maps. And that's where it comes down in terms of the coach, in terms of the team captain, or just team synergy. They need to talk it out, say, okay, guys, what went wrong? If they're able to capitalize and figure out what they did wrong, then I think La Quinta has a good chance of just kind of making their way back into this series.
I do see La Quinta having the potential of taking back this map, or if they do get pushed to a third map, they are able to reverse sweep them. But we're going to have to see Baron Bowie show up on the Genji and show Widow one trick he's not allowed to run over his team.
Yeah, and honestly, I think La Quinta, as a team, they have good mechanics. I think their team synergy just is slightly lackluster. I see them start initiations, but it seems like some of their heroes aren't committing towards the play.
Right.
And as a team, if you're not going to commit to the play, don't go for the play, because if not everyone is 100% committed, then chances are it's probably not going to work out. With Troy High School, I think, yes, they took their losses, but they were able to function as a team, and we were able to see that happen together. These students are able to work together and figure out their strengths and weaknesses, and able to have enough synergy to just close it out on that first map. For map 2, coming up is going to be Kings Row, as you said. Definitely something that we're hoping La Quinta has a lot more experience on, since they did get to choose the map. So we'll be looking out for that.
Troy High School gets to dictate the flow of this map, because what do you think is going behind the minds of the players in La Quinta?
I think right now they're honestly, round 2, they're probably just surprised at what Troy High School did, because I'll be honest, round 1, Troy High School wasn't looking too hot. Definitely because Widow one trick was on the Doomfist.
Right.
I think La Quinta just underestimated their opponents, and they were just really surprised when Widow one trick was showing up on that Genji. And I think the fact that they were surprised in round 2 just allowed them to have a delayed reaction.
Mm-hmm. So, do you think that La Quinta High School will be able to pull back this map?
I mean, if they're picking this map because it's losers picking the next
Right.
the next game's map, I'm hoping they can pull it out, because they're choosing Kings Row. I'm assuming they have a lot of playtime on it, and they just feel comfortable on this, because that's really what it comes down to in this best of 5, is really you got to stick with their comfort picks, and you got to just play it out, play the game, because if you're just going to let yourself tilt or get stressed out, that really does affect your team play.
You're right. Do you think there's any notable players from La Quinta High School that may be able to shift the favor in their hands? Did you see anyone that was game-changing, like anyone making plays?
I thought XQC had a lot of potential. I think mechanically he seems like he's a really good player.
Right.
I just think he needs to either communicate with his team a lot more when he's going for those really aggressive or slightly greedy plays. He needs to let his team know, like, hey guys, I'm going to go for this positioning. I want to push a lot more further than we should. Let's try to commit for this, see what happens. And if they're able to communicate that, then I think XQC is definitely something that La Quinta might play around. I think Baron Bowie as well. I think that first round he was doing amazing on with that Genji. But if his teammates aren't able to support it as efficiently, also Mongoku getting those nice Zarya ultimates in between rounds was really nice as well. So if they stick Mongoku, say, on Zarya, then that's something high hopes for La Quinta as well.
I don't know if La Quinta High School noticed this, but if they run a Lucio of their own, Kazo has been using his amp, and sometimes are not optimal. If La Quinta run their own Lucio and they're able to realize the mistakes that Troy High School make, they could use their amp and speed onto them, and then abuse the fact they don't have that much healing.
Yeah, so definitely something that La Quinta could work on is just adapting on the playstyles of their team compositions. If they notice something changes, they really just have to say, okay, what's the purpose of this change, and how are we going to capitalize or adapt to it? Because, like I've said multiple times, that's what it really comes down to. If you're able to adapt, then you're in a really good spot. But if you're not able to adapt, then the team just has a huge advantage over you.
You're right. Adapting is one of the most important points to this game. And there's many things that goes on in this game that could change the whole fight. Like one hero pick could shift the favor into one team. Like I think if Baron Bowie might have swapped off to maybe a Pharah, that she's uncontested. Because I noticed that both teams opt to run the Ryan Zarya instead of Ryan Zarya Diva.
Yeah.
Diva is a very powerful pick because the defense matrix just eats everything up like a vacuum.
Yeah. If you're going to have, like, if you get a really good matrix with that Diva, then that's really good. As we are going to start the game soon. Kings Row, La Quinta versus Troy High School. We see Troy High School, I believe, on defense first, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think you are right.
As we are waiting for this match to start. But yeah, the thing with NASEF competitively is, like, it's a different environment for these high schoolers. Is that it's not like quit play, it's not like ranked where you kind of are a lot more individual based.
You're right.
You just got to work as a team, and I think team ethic is something that's really important. As we do see a pause, something might have happened. It happens in between games, in finals like this, where they just need a pause to just discuss what went wrong. As we are waiting for them to unpause, it could take a while, but doesn't matter.
Pause actually comes out from the team of Troy, so the winning team actually call it a pause. It might be a technical issue.
Yeah, it could be a technical issue.
They might just need more time to talk about what they want to run and strategies they want to employ in this match.
Yeah, so definitely something that we do have to wait on. It happens, but yeah. So how's your morning so far?
My morning was great. I woke up very excited and very nervous to do it. This is my first time casting.
Hey man, it's fun. It's a good ride.
Yeah, and I hope to be able to do this again.
Yeah. I think, casting's always fun. It's like nice to watch really good talent show up, especially on the high school level, because if you think about it, these are kids who have schoolwork, who are, if they're seniors, they have college applications, and they're just balancing that life along with keeping up with decently high level of play. That's really impressive, if I do say so myself.
Well, obviously, education. In most eyes, education will be more important to high school. It's kind of hard to find a balance between free time and education.
School, yeah.
And
that's what's really impressive with these kids is that they find the balance and they make it work.
And in a competitive environment, you have to use your free time to play Overwatch, and Overwatch is kind of like another chore for you in this environment.
In this environment, yeah, especially if you're trying to be competitive with the sport or the game itself, as the match is going to start. As we are waiting for these teams, I believe, La Quinta's actually going to be defense, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see. I can't tell. Okay. We are going to wait as we see them lock in. We see the Hammond coming out from the sun.
So it's actually Troy going to be on the defense. They're running the same composition that they ran on Dorado. But on the side of La Quinta, we see the Widowmaker from Baron Bowie and Somber from Winter. We do not see any of these picks from last game, so I'm excited to see their ability to capitalize on picks and abuse the positioning of the enemy team. And we also see the Hammond on the attacking side. Do you think that's a permanent pick?
I'm assuming that if you're going to pick it, or actually no, they switched back to Moria, or I guess they're just kind of they're baiting us.
Spawn.
It happened. Yeah, it happens.
Okay.
But there might just be debating what composition they want to run, and it seems like they're gonna go ahead and put Baron Bowie on the Diva.
Right. We haven't seen a Diva in this match, so I'm excited to see Baron Bowie's ability on Diva. So they're running triple tank, triple support, or better known as GOATs. So we're gonna see how Widow One Trick is able to capitalize on the mosh pit that is GOATs.
As already they're pressing and trying to capitalize on this point. If they get that, they're going to start the payload nice and running, but they have to capitalize on this first. As we see Pride trying to zone them out with Zenyatta, trying to get as much DPS as possible. As we see the Diva dive in the back line, fighting at least 3 members at the same time.
Coalescence comes out from the sun. Baron Bowie is demeched and again gets eliminated by the Theodore.
Yeah, nicely done. If you're able to take out the Diva, then this gives them a little bit more breathing room, less dive potential coming out from La Quinta. As we see Winter on the brig, trying to do some work, but has to be careful. But Troy High School showing up.
Troy High School has every ultimate that's not named Earth Shatter. La Quinta High School actually used the rally, and none of them, besides Winter, got an effect. So, essentially, the only ultimate that La Quinta High School has is Earth Shatter and Sound Barrier. Mongoku is actually coming up on the Zarya ult, but we see here Kappa is going for the flank. Kappa pulls off
the Graviton Surge as we see Widow One Trick start swiping the blade across.
Beat is dropped by Famous Sari, so they're able to stay alive and sustain through the whole thing. No one has died yet.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, La Quinta do a good job surviving that. The Graviton and the Nano Blade's huge as we see Mongoku throw his own Graviton.
Kazo drops the beat, so everyone's able to stay alive. XUC trying to get Shatter. Kappa down, and Transcendence comes out from Kappa Pride.
Yeah, Transcendence able to keep the members of Troy High School alive. And as we see Kappa just help support his team, La Quinta's not having a lot of success on this. Kappa just pushing and pressing La Quinta back to their spawn points. And Troy High School seems to not give this objective up over to La Quinta.
They're essentially doing the same thing over and over. They have to change up their positioning or change up how they're going into engage into Troy, because Troy is just whittling down their shields faster than they're pushing in, making it so that on Troy's side they have more shield break, but La Quinta's actually coming up on sound barrier, so they're able to push offensively.
Oh, huge Graviton coming out from Kappa. Widow One Chick might be able to do some damage, but they're just trying to buy themselves some time. About a minute and a half left for Troy High School to keep this objective defended as we see them start doing a lot of damage. Kappa on a 5-killer kill streak.
Theodore does fall, but that's, if anything, is a consolation pick. XUC is staggering really hard.
I mean, if you're going to trade off your tank for another tank, that's quite worth, in my opinion, especially if you're defending. But
Baron Bowie gets demoted.
Over and over, La Quinta find themselves stuck on their spawn. They're not able to leave comfortably, and Troy High School is just doing a really good job keeping this objective clear.
Mongoku actually switches to the Roadhog, maybe to try to get more shield break and damage, potentially get a hook, and everyone could follow up on it. We can see Widow One Trick with another blade. Kazo and Kappa coming up on their ultimates.
Yeah, this might be the last push here as we see the the Transcendence actually pushing La Quinta away as we see Kappa Pride just trying to do his best here. Theodore picks up the kill on XQC, and this is really good for the side of Troy High School over and over again. It just seems like a different team compared to round 1 of Dorado. It seems like they're a lot more cool and relaxed, and they're just kind of playing the game and making sure their opponents stay on the defensive, even though they're on offense.
Kappa pulls out the Grav again, doing the exact same thing Mongoku does to get the pick on Widowmaker.
Yeah, but that's at least 5 player kills coming out from the side of Troy High School. They're just keep on doing the Graviton and Widow One Trick like it's clockwork, the same combo. Hey, I'm going to Graviton them, you're going to go in, okay? Just doing it like clockwork allows for Troy High School to have a lot of success.
Winter does switch to the last minute McCree, but I don't know how that's going to be used against Troy. Coalescence is going to come out. Flashbang actually gets Theodore. Huge shatter.
Oh, but we see the sound barrier keeping them alive, but the sound barrier coming out from La Quinta. They're trying to get this last objective. It's overtime, and that means they got to do their best, but if Troy High School is able to defend, then they're in a good spot, and Theodore is just trying to keep them off the objective, and that might just be Troy High School taking round 1
Troy
over
High
La
School
Quinta.
being able to full hold is very, very, it shows their ability to be able to work together as a team. And I think that La Quinta High School should have adapted. They tend to run the same thing over and over until the last minute. And Overwatch, it's about counterplay, really. That's how you basically win. And they just kept running the same thing over and over again.
I think like their philosophy is like try it again, but in a game like Overwatch, that strategy is not so efficient. If you're not getting a lot of success off that composition, you got to change it right away before it gets worse. And the longer you procrastinate on that, the lower the chances of you coming back are. So now we see Troy High School on offense and La Quinta on defense. Are we expecting La Quinta to have a better defense compared to their offense? Because honestly, their offense was quite detrimental for them.
La Quinta is all going to have to step a level up if they want to even pull out the tie. Because Troy High School, they could just build up 6 ultimates and then just throw it on top and clean up everyone else. One observation that was made is that Baron Bowie on the Diva was always the last one to be eliminated, so he was forced off to switch off to Genji, back to Diva, just to remake. And that is very bad for his ult economy, and Widow One Trick and Kappa was able to pull out Graviton Surges and Dragon Blades every other fight to be able to have a win condition. La Quinta High School did not have a win condition, and even if they pulled out something, they couldn't follow up on it completely. Yeah,
from what it seems like, Quinta just thinks they're playing quick play. Like there doesn't seem like a plan for them. Like they're just playing them solely on their mechanics, and you got to bring a lot more to that if you're in the finals here.
You're right, and we see that the side of Troy just rush in and pushes them off. Winter trying to take shots at the Lucio.
Yeah, Winter taking a lot of damage. We don't see a lot of right clicks coming out from Winter. The Phantom Hammer did get buffed, as we see Widow One Trick doing a lot of damage. Takes out 2 members, as we see Troy High School getting the... This might be objective going over, and that map's going to go over to Troy High School. It's 2-0
Yes.
in favor of Troy.
You could see that Troy High School are good at dictating whether they're going to fight or not. On the other side of La Quinta, they're kind of just poking in, poking out, taking unnecessary damage, giving Genji and their Zarya the ult charge.
Yeah, and look at Widow One Trick. Takes 2 members to secure this objective. And honestly, Widow One Trick's doing phenomenal on this Genji. And switching him off from Doomfist to this was the best choice I've seen Troy High School do.